I'm drained. I'm tired. I should look at this chart. What is this? What is this? This is the... What is this moon? That's what it is. And you don't even spell it right. That's what that is. Just so you can see what I'm talking about here. I'm going to talk about Windows security and how fucked up it's become because they want to destroy us. Planned obsolescence through corporate takeover. Or was it? Maybe the governments are the ones who created the corporations? But who created the government? Maybe it was the banks, but who created the bank? Maybe it was some cultists, maybe. So it goes all the way back to the beginning. But here we are now. I haven't looked at this Leo full moon chart yet, so I'm going to look at it right now, give an assessment. I'm seeing fives here, a lot of fives. Tension, you know. It's the reciprocity, of dynamics in relation to your creation. One, the self, the individual, comes into contact with the other, whatever that is. The two create three, the third, the Trinity. It is a mutual reception that creates a new dynamic. That's your creation. Whatever you bring into the world. And then that, in the five, that becomes the tension in relation to the dynamics of life. It's the first thing I pick up here. Now this full moon squares my AC/DC, ascendant, descendant, natally. So my T-square is activated right now. My Uranus opposing Mercury in a T-square with Saturn is all online right now. But it's happening in a progressed kind of way, a 9th to a 6th to a 12th house way. See, I feel in life we are initiated over and over again into life through new experiences. We're rung, the bell is rung, and the residuals are how long we hang on to that tone, that spirit, how far we bring it out. And the gift, I suppose, and the curse is the sense of awareness which arises as we realize we are who we think we are, we aren't. You know, getting into that, all that spiritual stuff with I am not. Who is the I? To speak about it is blasphemous. It's tragic comedy. It has to be lived. So I digressed for a moment. The full moon in Leo on January 25th, 2024. This chart I have up here right now is a Taurus rising chart because I have it set for Minneapolis, Minnesota. Central Standard Time, essentially. And on this chart, you can see if you are reading this natally or just for your own here now type of thing, you can notice the AC, DC, and the MC, IC. They all have big planets on, or not big planets, but energies on them. Think of Aquarius for a moment. Saturn, ancient ruler. Uranus, modern ruler. To me, Uranus is the releasing expression of Saturn, the remembrance of eternal connection, creation, release, and grip. So we're picking up new spirit each time we're going back through the void into Aries on the micro level in this backward world, and then progressively through the cosmos. It is receding, the Piscean dreams bleeding into Aquarius. And the refinement of what washes up on the shore, the individual, the individuation, that is what holds the spark, the birth, the promise of eternal life, handing down the spirit to Capricorn, the protection, so that the species, the tradition, the spirit can live again and float down the river of life. So think conceptually about the ways in which life unfolds. It can unfold in any way. Don't hold yourself to statics. You may be disempowered for a time when you release all that has been traditional value to you, but in that opening up to the potential, that feminine expression to invite wisdom to inform you through ignorance, that's where you realize what washed up on the shores of the dream of Pisces into Aquarius. What elements of self glitter from the spark you hold. And it informs you of the value of your own spirit in Leo, your expression. What is unity if there is no individual? How can you honor your self, your value, to know it in others? All right, so let's look at the chart for a moment. Just talk about the full moon. All right, so right away, I see the square between Jupiter and this moon. I also see Apollon at 6 degrees Scorpio squaring. So this is a T-square. An expansion of the wisdom through your emotional awareness of the value of your spirit through feeling. If you can honor the spirit of yourself, if you can try and cultivate what that is, nourish that, what feels right. You are transforming your Saturnian energies, which is the binds to the past, for the promise of the here now, so you can honor the ancestors through growing, through healing yourself, through learning how to value yourself and your expression. And simply by sharing that, bringing that to life is how you do that. Because you can see the moon here as a transformative quincunx to Saturn at 5 degrees Pisces. And of course, Saturn is sextiling into Jupiter and Taurus, so we can see the dynamic of how this spiritual Jupiterian spirit moves Earth, moves fixed Earth. It is the joy of a good bounty, it is the realization of something that you had forgotten from the past. It is squaring into the sun in Aquarius, the spirit that comes through us, handed down through the fathers. But it comes through the fathers, through the void of existence. And there's great potential in that. And there's this spirit of growth, change. Some call it evolution, some devolution. So if you can apply the golden rule to yourself, at this time you will grow in beautiful ways. I'm just analyzing the rest of this here. Now Venus is also in a working quincunx with this full moon, an opening transformation. So the embodiment of the transformation through what you do, day-to-day routines, your work. What is the value of it? How do you be of service to that? Is that of service to the self or the other? And what is the other? How has the compromise and the love that you hold for system, for society, for culture, for others, for consensus reality, for the facts as they were handed to you, how do you reconcile what real value is by not compromising the truth of yourself in relation to that? How do you bring your truth there? And if that doesn't jive, you are able to see and distinguish how you climb this mountain of Capricorn to your own Aquarius. When you give less energy to things that don't serve you, you have more energy for the self. And those subtle spirits, the passions within you rise and utilize that energy if you aren't feeding it into machine. And that's the realization you can get with this Mercury, balsamic phase conjunction with Mars. Mercury's catching up. Mars at 15 degrees of Capricorn squaring Chiron at 15 degrees of Aries. So the wounds of your own hand-me-down repressions, the isms. I'll give you the spirit of Aquarius here for a moment, I speak of this I speak of this firsthand through my own experiences. Alienation sense of self and other comes in so many ways. When I was young, I didn't have anything that I could attribute to it for myself. I couldn't say it's because I'm this or that. It was an alienation within myself to the experiences of life in a world that did not feel like home. So I was divided within. I cannot be controlled by the isms of the world. But we all go through this alienation, and some of us wear the isms of the world, and it's the same process, same result, doesn't matter. It's just where your epigenetic focus expresses. So this self-rebellion is the reflection I take in from the world, and I'm realizing the world is what I put into it, where I put my focus. So this alienated spirit is the eternal progression. It is always cycle, change. It's only alienated because it cannot honor the past as a distinct, separate happening from what it is now and where it's going. It will honor the expression, and it does so through Saturn, as Saturn lays new foundation for this spirit. And that's what we worship and honor iconically external to ourselves, and we get caught up in the religions and the ideals and utopian, dystopian, technocratic dreams. And we see we've got Pluto, balsamic phase conjunction to the sun on this full moon. And Pallas Athena and Fortune are squaring into Pluto here from 26 degrees. Or not, that's not a square. What the hell is that? Septile. It's kind of a loose septile, I believe. I gotta look at the degrees. Well, there's an alien aspect being made here. Reach back to the past, the soul's evolutionary intention, or primordial force, you could just call it. What is the wisdom you've gained through the perception of losing your own primordial force to fictitious games or loops you had to endure, you had to go through to express the demons, the shadows, the energy of the past? So your emotions are rising through the passion of self-creation as an individual here in Leo. And if you have a planet or anything close to 5 degrees, feel into what that could be for you and just go for what that is. Especially if you have other planets active that are engaged, like the moon, Jupiter, the sun, Mars. I mean, any of the planets really, but the ones I've been speaking of. Now there's a lot more going on. The world's going to be happening. Technocracy's been rising. It's just part of the shadow of Aquarius. I'm a down-to-earth person, but I look from the dark to the light, so I can't sugarcoat reality here. I can't get all excited about the future because I know what it's going to take to get there. It might not be that way for other people, but it will probably be that way for me. Now the awareness of my lapse in perspective through knowing this system and that everyone's got their own perspectives, is that there are things I cannot see. But it is the ignorance which guides me. It helps to channel spirit that needs form in some way. So where the process lies, for me, I'm not quite sure. But I see a lot of change in this world, and I see a lot of dire things happening first before any kind of better arises. And I do mean that because this world really is shit. And I feel blessed to live in the US because I know how bad it could be. And I do know there are people that live really blessed lives, and I am glad that I don't. It would probably be very boring. But society, the technology, you're seeing now where people didn't even know about like Davos or any of that crap years ago. Now all of a sudden we've got reporters in there doing interviews and like head to head. It's like people believe this stuff. They don't understand that life is like they're just giving us a script. We've been programmed. The only way to defeat it is to not give it life. How do you not give it life? You know what's happening, basically. And you know that whatever mortality consciousness has, whatever mortal consciousness rises, is only a prop for the expression of the cosmos. The happening, whatever is to come, is already unfolding. There's no stopping that. But in that way, even though all this other stuff's going on, how can I bring my expression into form with that energy without just riding whatever else unfolds, the movie? This kind of, it's like an alien awareness you don't must, but you can hold on to, I suppose. Identify as a light. Maybe that's the spark of your own creative expression. The spirit is there to be informed. All right, and if you think about it logically, we really don't make decisions until we feel the right spirit. I mean, really good decisions anyway. All right, well, thanks for watching, listening, and being.